yes, it is the classical Trump strategy or Trumpist maybe rhetoric or discourse, whatever we call it, in diplomacy, because we're just expecting something. I think from day one to day two, we know that how Mr. Trump can change. I think in day one, just yesterday, his visit actually started to Turkey, for this important NATO summit. The first scenes coming from the airport, from Ankara streets, of course, presidential complex, we have seen as a very positive, face of very positive, of course, message giver as Mr. Trump's just his meeting with Mr. Erdogan. But now in the, second day, just in the very, very, of course, working day of NATO, he just said this, remarkable and some, of course, irritating words again for especially peaceful atmosphere of this region. Because we know that many allies, also in NATO, I think my country, Turkey also, do not share such very, strong arguments against one country, Iran. It will be not the solution, to heighten the tension again. It will be not the solution to make such a discourse on the field, on diplomacy field especially. And I think it is a very, changeable strategy of Mr. Trump. Maybe he will use this strong card in the next step. Maybe he will use it as a maybe discussion topic in NATO, transformation of NATO. We will see, but I think the first words is not so positive, especially for such a positive atmosphere of NATO in Ankara.
So if the US has ended the Iran deal, so what does this signal about the future of diplomatic efforts between US and Iran?
Diplomatic efforts can continue. I think it is, of course, again, one word and one sentence of Mr. Trump. It is, again, so changeable. Tomorrow or the day after, we will see maybe, again, a mediation attempt of Pakistan, renewable Pakistan. Of course, Qatar still, they are striving. Really, there are some motivated actors on the field, of course, Turkey. And we see that these actors can achieve something still on the diplomacy field. But yes, the rhetoric still wins. The strong rhetoric wins. We know that the provocations also continue from the side of Israel. They are also pushing always the borders. They're also pushing this traditional peaceful methods, like in this NATO summit, like in other, of course, United Nations channel. They're always making some stronger arguments, and really this also motivates maybe, first of all, Mr. Trump to demand more. First of all, from his allies, like his sayings against Britain, his sayings against Germany. I think he did not say anything negative till this time against Turkey, but still, he knows our opinion. We really appreciate these talkings in diplomatic level. And after such words, such harsh words, I do not know what Turkey is, of course, position against this rhetoric.
So what are the implications of ending negotiations with Iran, so particularly regarding its nuclear program and regional security?
Two important things here is, of course, first, the longer terms thing is about nuclear program. It is not one day issue. It is years, tens of years. We see that Iran's, of course, so motivated for, first of all, I think, develop it for peaceful, as they say, for their own community, economic purposes, because of these embargoes, everything, dependent maybe development plans. But about this armament, about these nuclear warheads, yes, this is a very long issue, and we need definitely this, in this level especially, this United Nations Atomic Agency's helps. At least we hope that they will be a bit, in a faster track in this diplomatic talkings. But about the short term, I'm so pessimistic about Strait of Hormuz, and especially such groups, in Lebanon, in Syria, in the other parts, of course, of the Middle East. It can maybe also stimulate some other actors to take more actions that will be not so peaceful, and of course that will be not so diplomatic. And one actor, Israel, will be so glad to see such radical moves, because they are really nurturing from this radicalization, from these radical movements.
And Iran and US were expected to resume technical talks on July 11th. In your view, do you think this is possible to resume talks?
We're still hopeful. Because Mr. Trump, as I said, is a tradesman. First of all, he's a diplomat, he's a politician. But first of all, I think if you make a percentage, I always say that more than 50% he's a tradesman. He always makes this discourse maybe to play his strongest card, and he always making the same maybe tactic strategy. Now he said something, and maybe he just also wants to see the allies. Attitude, because everyone's here. In Ankara. Maybe you followed, also your valuable correspondent said that. Also, Mr. Mark Rutte, he's really, as Mr. Trump's whisperer, as the correspondent says very rightly. He also said very strong words, very strong, discourse against Iran. But still, many important allies here, and I think Mr. Trump wants to see their attitude, maybe also Turkish attitude. And we are still hopeful. There's technical talks, also, of course, with the support and mediation of Pakistan, Qatar. It can still continue. It can. But Mr. Trump will also continue his rhetoric and his strong arguments.
So Trump has also criticized allies over their response when it comes to Iran's conflict. So how significant is this criticism, and could it affect alliance unity?
Definitely, it can. Because I always said that, many persons actually for years said that there is the big ocean between United States and this side of the world. And Europe, also Turkey, also Middle East, even this Turkic country, also Pakistan knows that Iran has a very critical position just in the middle of this geography, in Eurasia, Middle East, whatever you call. In this geography, such a tension can only escalate new tensions in economy, in politics, and of course, the allies, also Britain, also China, Russia, Turkey, not only not NATO allies, all countries, in this Eurasian partnership, they will not support such an ideology of war. Because the economy, the numbers, because of the Strait of Hormuz escalation, it is so, under very discussion. And yes, it will create a real tension between the allies. And I think this NATO summit today will be under the shadow of these words. But we hope that still the allies will act rationally, and they will also push for more diplomacy.